I want to tell you something that no one on Wall Street ever admitted out loud. The greatest traders in history, the ones who built real, lasting wealth, were not the smartest people in the room. They were not the ones with the best information. They were not the ones with the fastest execution or the most sophisticated systems. The greatest traders in history were the ones who made the fewest stupid mistakes. That is it. Not the fewest mistakes overall, because every trader makes mistakes. The market is uncertain. Losses are part of this business. I have always accepted that. I am talking about the other kind of mistake. The kind you knew was a mistake before you made it. The kind where a quiet voice somewhere inside you said, "Do not do this," and you did it anyway. The kind where you broke your own rule, chased a trade that was not there, held on when every signal said let go, doubled down when the evidence was screaming at you to walk away. Those mistakes, the stupid ones, not that, the unlucky ones, the stupid ones. And here is the brutal truth that took me 40 years, 4 fortunes, and everything I ever loved to finally understand. I did not lose my money because the market was against me. I lost my money because I kept making stupid mistakes that I already knew were stupid. My name is Jesse Livermore, and today I am going to teach you why avoiding stupid mistakes is not just good discipline. It is the single most powerful edge a trader can possess. More powerful than any system, more powerful than any indicator, more powerful than any tip, any analysis, or any research. Stay with me, because by the time I am done, you will understand not just what stupid mistakes look like. You will understand exactly why intelligent people keep making them and precisely how to stop. Before we go any further, I need to define exactly what I mean, because not all mistakes are equal. There are 2 types of mistakes in trading. The first type I call the honest mistake. You did your analysis, you followed your rules. You read the situation as well as you could with the information you had. You entered the trade, and the market moved against you. That is an honest mistake. That is simply the cost of operating in an uncertain world. Every great trader accepts this type of loss without guilt, without self-punishment, without tearing apart their entire approach after one bad trade. You cannot eliminate honest mistakes, and you should not try. Trying to eliminate all losses leads to paralysis. And paralysis in this business is its own kind of ruin. The second type I call the stupid mistake. You already knew better. You had a rule and you broke it. You saw the warning signs and you ignored them. You felt the hesitation inside you and you pushed through it anyway. Someone gave you a tip, and some part of you knew it was not your trade, but you took it. The market was clearly moving against you, and some part of you knew you should exit, but you held on. You had already made your profit, and some part of you knew you should protect it, but greed spoke louder. These are stupid mistakes, and unlike honest mistakes, stupid mistakes are entirely preventable. The market does not force you to make them. Your own psychology does. The difference between a trader who builds a lasting fortune and a trader who keeps starting over is almost always this. The successful trader has learned to interrupt the moment between the stupid impulse and the stupid action. That interruption, that pause, that discipline, that is the superpower. Let me tell you where I learned this. Not from a book, not from a mentor, not from a classroom. I learned it from losing everything, 4 separate times. I was born in 1877 in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. My father was a farmer. He had a life mapped out for me: work the land, live simply, follow the same path he had followed. I ran away at 14 years old. I packed a small bag, took a few dollars my mother quietly pressed into my hand, and walked toward Boston with no plan and no connections. One stubborn belief that numbers were my language, and the market was my world. In Boston, I found a job at Payne Weber posting stock prices on a chalkboard. My salary was $1 a week. All I did all day long was write numbers. But while every other boy wrote the numbers and forgot them, I memorized them. I kept a leather notebook. I tracked patterns. I noticed how stocks behaved before large moves. I noticed the hesitation. I noticed the acceleration. I noticed the way volume shifted before price shifted. At 15 years old, I placed my first trade, $5 on Burlington shares. I made $3.12 in one afternoon. My hands were shaking when I walked out, not from nerves, from recognition. I knew this is exactly where I belong. By 20, I had been banned from nearly every bucket shop in Boston. I was winning too consistently. The houses could no longer make money off me. So I moved to New York. And New York humbled me completely. Twice I was wiped out entirely. The real market moved differently than the bucket shops. The timing was different. The mechanics were different. And my ego, my stubborn, expensive ego, kept telling me I knew things I did not yet know. But I did not quit. I studied price movements as a boy. I had used to study price movements as a boy. I wrote down every mistake, every emotion that had led me to override what the tape was clearly telling me, every moment where I had chosen hope over data, and slowly, painfully, I built the understanding that I am sharing with you today. Not from wisdom, from wounds. Over 40 years of trading, I identified 6 specific stupid mistakes that I watched destroy traders again and again, including myself. Not complex strategic errors, not sophisticated analytical failures. 6 simple, avoidable, stupid mistakes. Here they are. Stupid mistake number 1, ding on tips. I cannot tell you how many times I watched smart men, genuinely intelligent, experienced men hand their money to the market because someone at a dinner table gave them a stock tip. And I cannot tell you how many times I did the exact same thing myself. Here is the truth about tips. A tip is someone else's opinion delivered without full context, without accountability, and almost always at the wrong time for you. By the time a tip reaches you, the smart money that created the setup has already entered. You are buying their exit. I had one iron rule for the first 20 years of my career. I do not trade tips, and every single time I broke that rule, I lost money. Every single time, without one exception in my entire career. If you are trading on tips from friends, from social media, from group chats, from anyone, you are not trading. You are gambling with borrowed conviction. And borrowed conviction evaporates the moment the trade goes against you. Trade only what you can see with your own eyes on the tape. Nothing else. Stupid mistake number 2, averaging down into a losing position. This one is seductive. It feels like intelligence. It feels like discipline. It feels like you are playing a longer, smarter game. It is almost always destruction. Here is what averaging down looks like. You buy a stock at $50. It drops to $45. You tell yourself, I still believe in this trade, and now it is cheaper. So you buy more. It drops to $40. You buy more. It drops to $35. Now you have a massive position in a stock that the market has told you 3 separate times that something is wrong. The tape does not lie. When a stock falls against your position, the market is sending you a message. The message is, your thesis is not confirmed. Averaging down is the act of covering your ears and buying more even as that message gets louder and louder. I did this more than once, and it cost me fortunes each time. The rule is simple. If the trade is wrong, exit. You can re-enter at a better price with a clear head and fresh eyes. Averaging into a losing position only gives you a larger loss at a worse average price. Never add to a losing position. Never. Stupid mistake number 3, overtrading. There is a particular madness that strikes traders who have been sitting still for too long. The market is quiet. Nothing is setting up properly. And yet the urge comes. The urge to do something, to be in the game, to feel active and engaged. And so they manufacture a trade. They find a reason where there is not one. They talk themselves into a setup that does not actually meet their criteria. They trade boredom instead of opportunity. I called this the enemy of patience. And patience, true, disciplined, unshakable patience, is one of the rarest qualities in all of speculation. The market does not pay you for being active. It pays you for being right. And sometimes being right means sitting on your hands for weeks, doing absolutely nothing. Some of my most profitable months were months where I made very few trades. Some of my most catastrophic losses came during periods of frantic, non-stop activity where I was manufacturing excuses to be in the market instead of waiting for the market to present genuine opportunities. If there is no clear, high probability setup, do not trade. Sit. Wait. The market will still be there tomorrow. The same cannot be said for your capital if you bleed it away on low-quality trades made out of impatience. Stupid mistake number 4, letting a small loss become a catastrophic loss. Every trader has a line. a price point where the trade is clearly wrong, where the original thesis no longer holds, where the tape is saying, get